Here we go. It's the third of three prep races here on February 1st. We're really starting to get into Kentucky Derby season as the calendar turns towards February. We turn our eyes to Gulfstream Park for the Grade 3 Holy Bull Stakes, a field of 7. We've got Bill Mott bringing in 6, Burning Glory from maiden special weight right up to graded stakes, an angle he does really, really well with. Positive 169 ROI recently with that. Tom, what's your first impressions of the race?
Yeah, in terms of a horse that is given value, the 6 is the one I was looking to as well. I'm super shy on Guns Loaded. I think Guns Loaded could come out and set the pace. There's a couple of horses that could put some pressure on him as well. I'm looking at Ferocious, obviously, uh, Burnham Square, and the one Kinetic Control, possibly. I'm still uncertain about how those horses do want to set the pace, but yeah, in terms of the win, I think the safe play here is Ferocious, and then I like Burning Glory if you're going to add some value. I like those Bill Mott horses that come into a sneaky play like this. Arthur's Ride comes to mind, right?
Yeah, the 3 Tappan Street is a Brad Cox trained horse coming up for the second time, was a winner at a maiden special weight of 65,000 going 7 furlongs at Gulfstream Park. He's taking quite a bit of money here. He's
Yeah.
another Into Mischief horse, so you got to pay attention to the Coxes that are taking money. This was a $1 million horse. As they begin to enter the gate here, we'll switch over the feed for you for the 2025 Holy Bull. Your number 3, Tappan Street, goes off as your favorite. Ferocious is trained by Gustavo Delgado. Remember that name. He
Yes.
feels that
Mage.
this horse was even better than Mage, who was a horse that had a big performance down in Florida before going on to win the Kentucky Derby. So here we go, formula. They're in the gate
They're in the
for
gate.
race 11 at Gulfstream Park.
Watch the 4 to set the pace here. If it doesn't, it's going to get interesting.
The 4's Guns Loaded, who last 2 races has gone wire to wire
Yeah.
at Churchill and then at Gulfstream Park. They're away. Clean
Oh, he
start.
wants it. And it looks like Tappan Street also wants it. Kinetic Control taking over first place, doesn't mind the rail at all, finds his way in there, being followed by the 2 Ferocious, who we also thought would be up on the pace, but Guns Loaded really wants it and is gunning for it. Still about a length behind Kinetic Control right now. So Guns Loaded about where we expected, Ferocious about where we expected. Tappan Street falling back a little bit there. He's about 3 to 4 lengths back next to He's Not Joking. And then rounding out the back there, we've got, what is it, Burning Glory and Burnham Square. 2 fun names to say right next to each other. This will be
Ferocious
the
has
first.
seemed Ferocious has seemed uncomfortable here so far. In that first turn, he got a little bit bumped and got kicked back, and then Castellano was really kind of pulling, and there he goes on the outside, and
Yep.
went to go on the outside, and there's a horse there to his right. So for
Yeah.
me, Ferocious is kind of having a little bit of trouble here. Now Castellano is asking him. He was holding him back before, but here he comes asking to go after Guns Loaded, and he got Tappan Street on the outside. And
Curious to see how
Ferocious has
Tappan
the first
Street
jump.
handles this. Like you said, 7 furlongs, the longest he's gone so far. He's going 8.5 years, so it's a huge bump up as these 3 horses are about to enter the stretch here. It looks like Tappan Street really wants it.
Yeah, he's really
He's
being
getting the
asked by
call.
Saez. And here comes number 7, Burnham Square. Saez is really asking Tappan Street a ton to get to this position, so we're going to see how much it takes out of him. Burnham Square is coming charging down the center of the track here at 4-1, and this is a nice run here for the Ian
Indeed.
Wilkes trained Edgar Zayas. Burnham Square. Shout out to Spin and Tim, who were both all over this horse today.
There you go. And it looks like rounding it out there, we've got Burning Glory for 3rd and Ferocious took 4th. So once again, the Gustavo Delgado horse that he was talking up as being more excited than Mage. Still, I mean, we've seen a couple second places. Didn't look so great at the Juvenile, although any horse that wasn't a Baffert horse didn't. But here, I was talking it up. This had to be his race. This is the one where he has to really show something, and darn it, he didn't.
Burnham Square is your victor here. A really nice
There you
run.
go.
And the big question there was just how much I saw Saez asking that 3. So he
Yeah.
made that nice move, but he was really asking him to get up there. We're going to show you the past performances here of Burnham
Yeah.
Square, who picks up the 20 points. This is a horse who, like in December, went a mile on the 16th at Gulfstream Park, breaking his maiden, winning by 9 lengths. That was the time that he put blinkers on for the first time. And what a difference that seemed to make here for the Ian Wilkes trained horse out of sired by Liam's Map.
Finish time is a 1:43.6. Said on my full field rundown, if you really want your you want your horse to run in this race and be a Derby horse, historically, sub 143 is where you want to be put. We saw it last year. I think they ran like a 1:46. It was a horrible race, but you had two Derby horses come out of that regardless. Wasn't the first place horse, wasn't Hades, right? It was Domestic Product and Fierceness. But if you look at the last 10, running a sub 143 is what gets you in. Not to say that it has to happen, but that's more or less what the trend is. So I would call this, not super slow, but not ideal either.
Burnham Square, Tappan Street is third. Number 6, Burning Glory, up for third. Like we mentioned coming into the race here, that was the Bill Mott trained horse, who he does really well, stepping up to the graded stakes races. So something to build off of. Obviously, much further behind the first two. And then Ferocious, like I told you, Formula, I don't know that you take a lot from this fourth place finish, because I think he had more trouble and was being choked on the back stretch and then was asked and rushed up. And, maybe you can make some excuses for Ferocious here in this one.
But then when do the excuses stop? There's excuses for Juvenile, and then, he had 2 second place finishes before then. At some point, right? I mean, I know he does have a win, but at some point you want to see him really take over a race if you're going to get serious about this horse. And, it didn't look like a good race for him at all. Yeah. So my top 4 is represented there quite well, but my value play and my safe play are 3rd and 4th. So, not exactly picking the right horses for the top 2.
Burnham Square picks up the 20 points to put him in contention in the top. The races are worth 20 points right now. Absolutely. That's as the horses start to deflect when you get close to Kentucky Derby. These are big points that they're picking up in order to make the gate for the race. We'll show you the latest Kentucky Derby standings. Citizens Bull now Formula is basically in with his victory, and the Robert B. Lewis picking up now 20 more. So he's got 60. And then you have this group of 20 points, horses that are winning these prep races at this point. Captain Cook, Coal Battle, and Burnham Square jumps in there with 20 points. That'll do it for our rendition of the race replay for your 2025 Holy Bowl. He's the Formula. I'm Colin Sheehan. Like and subscribe and stick with us for prep replays and previews throughout this Kentucky Derby season.